What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about someone that could potentially be on the verge of an extension with the Chicago Bulls team. And you might be thinking, well, it's got to be Josh Giddey, surely. Maybe it's even Kobe White. Heck, let's throw in Ayo Dosunmu in there and give all these guys the extensions they deserve. Well, this sort of extension is a bit of a different one, and it's none of those players we're going to be talking about today. As you probably have seen from the thumbnail and the title of the video, today I'm going to be talking about Dalen Terry. I want to discuss whether or not he's deserving of a potential extension with the Chicago Bulls team, and of course, if he doesn't get that extension, what does that mean for his future with this Bulls team, and ultimately just my overall thoughts and opinions on the matter. But before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below whether or not, if you had the choice today to offer an extension to Dalen Terry, A, would you give that extension? And B, if you could, how much money would you be giving Dalen Terry per season? As far as I'm aware, he's making around $15 million over the 4 period. So 15 million divided by 4, that's probably around what he's making. Ultimately, again, it's still a rookie deal. He's only 22 years of age, and if he doesn't get that extension this season, he is still going to be a Chicago Bulls player. This extension is basically to take him out of that restricted free agency bracket and give him the amount of money and, I guess, the long-term future early, essentially. Put it this way. The example I could give, I'm not entirely sure if this is accurate, but bear with me here. A guy like Jason Tatum, I'm pretty sure he got his max deal with the Boston Celtics well before he hit restricted free agency. And that kept him around long term for Boston and basically tied him up for as long as possible. And maybe that didn't happen. I don't know. I'm not a Boston Celtics fan, but I think it did happen in that regard. And that's basically what you could be giving to Dalen Terry. Of course, we're not going to be giving him a max contract or anything like that, but you can keep him with the Chicago Bulls team on a more longer-term basis this season by offering him an extension for whatever amount of money, whatever amount of years that it's eligible to happen. So, should the Chicago Bulls be doing this? You could say it depends on the price. You could say it depends on the years. You could say it depends on the contract. And look, if that's your boat, that's completely fine. I'm more than happy to be listening to what I guess people would give Dalen Terry. Is one of the questions I asked at the end of the day. But the way that I see it, we probably shouldn't be giving Dalen Terry an extension for the Chicago Bulls at this point in time. So basically, if we don't give him that extension, he stays on the Bulls next season, but this will be the final season of his contract, and then he will hit restricted free agency, very similar to where Josh Giddey is at this point in time. Josh Giddey is not technically a member of the Chicago Bulls anymore. He is a restricted free agent, and we will have to figure out how much we pay him this upcoming offseason. With Dalen Terry, we don't need to focus on that. So, as I mentioned, I don't think we should be giving Dalen Terry that extension this season. I guess I should probably tell you guys why I think that's the case. Well, firstly, and I mean this in the nicest way possible, I'm not entirely sure if Dalen Terry has earned that extension from the Chicago Bulls as of now. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm going to say a lot of positive things about Dalen Terry in this video. For starters, he has improved each and every single season. He's always available, very rarely gets injured. He's improved his three-point shooting each and every single season. He's an energy guy that gives everything on the defensive end of the floor. He has the ability to dribble and play make for the Chicago Bulls team. And with the right role and the right amount of minutes, you could see Dalen Terry really take a big step with the Chicago Bulls team. I'm not saying he's going to be the next superstar. I'm not saying he's going to be the next starter for the Chicago Bulls, but he could be a consistent role player on this team, given the right minutes, the right infrastructure, and the right role. He could be all those things for the Chicago Bulls off the bench. He could be a fantastic bench player that you depend on each and every single night. So far, that's not even his role with this Bulls team. Some games he gets minutes, big minutes. Some games he gets maybe 3 or 4 minutes a game, which, you know, it's not something or someone you should be giving an extension to if you can't rely on him to be a Bulls player each and every single game. So, with that being said, that's why I don't think we should be giving him an extension, because I just don't think the Bulls have a clear future or path for Dalen Terry that persists on the long term. And I'll even mention this to you guys. How many of you guys have said or even put Dalen Terry in potential trade talks? How many of you guys have actually even said that you would like to keep Dalen Terry around for the long term? There are many people that may have, but from everything I've heard from a lot of people, they are throwing people in, they're throwing Dalen Terry in trades. They are potentially talking about letting him go and all these things. So if many people are saying that, I kind of have a feeling the Chicago Bulls would be thinking that as well. But also, what this may do for Dalen Terry if we don't give him the extension is once again to add another chip on the shoulder and add another point to prove with this Bulls team. He's going to be coming into a contract year. I don't need to explain this to you guys. You know exactly what contract years are mostly about. It's about showing the organization that you play for, but every other organization out there watching you for that season, that you are worth long-term, I guess, investment, and you are worth hefty investment. That's what Josh Giddey showed with the Chicago Bulls team at the second part of the season. He showed he is worth a long-term deal, and he's worth the hefty extension. He's worth the hefty price. Dalen Terry will get an opportunity to show that with the Chicago Bulls team. But you also got to consider, you have to give Dalen Terry the minutes to shine. You have to give him the touches to shine. If the Bulls could do that and he shines, then of course, you give the extension in restricted free agency. But if Dalen Terry doesn't necessarily live up to the contract year, doesn't necessarily do much with the Chicago Bulls team, then it was probably the right move not to extend him this season. But then you could potentially have the case of trading him because he'll be on an expiring deal, or even letting him walk in restricted free agency next season. So again, money's something you shouldn't be playing with, especially when the Bulls have many big decisions to make. So delaying the extension of Dalen Terry, not saying we're not going to do it, but delaying the extension allows this Bulls team to think a little bit more about the way they want to use that money, who they're going to give it to, potentially contracts we may sign, maybe trades we may do. It gives availability for that money and for a spot with the Chicago Bulls team. So, yeah, I think we should be holding out on it. I think most people would probably be feeling that way. But for Dalen Terry, if he doesn't get that extension with this Bulls team this season, July 1st, I think is when the final day of those extensions can happen. Of course, he could go absolutely crazy. He could really show everybody next season what he's worth. And I hope he could do it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.